Hey everyone, this is Anam. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be discussing the poem How to Tell Wild Animals from the book First Flight of Class 10. I'll also discuss all the poetic devices. The poem is written by American poet Carolyn Wells. If the poet is a female, then we can use the word poet as well as poetess. How to Tell Wild Animals is a humorous description of the physical features and the behavior of certain wild animals. The poem is a beautiful blend of humor and information as it informs the readers about how to recognize some animals in the forest. So, in a very humorous way, the poet talks about certain distinct features of some wild animals and how can we recognize them. Let's begin. In stanza 1, the poet talks about Asian lion, how one can identify an Asian lion. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast. Tawny means brownish yellow color. So as we know, a lion has brownish yellow colored skin. So the poet is saying that if by any chance you happen to go to the jungles in the east, and if you see a huge brownish yellow colored beast coming towards you, if he roars at you to threaten you and then he attacks you, as you're dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion. So that's how you can identify the Asian lion. It is huge and it has brownish yellow colored skin. In second stanza, the poet talks about how to identify the Bengal tiger, the famous Bengal tiger. Or if you sometime, when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you. Now in a humorous way, the poet has used the word greet because obviously tiger will not greet you, it will attack you and kill you. So the poet says, if you roam around in a jungle and if you see a royal, an aristocratic wild beast, coming towards you with black stripes on a yellow ground. Yellow ground is used for the tiger's skin. So the skin is yellow with black stripes on it. Just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. Discern means to identify, to recognize. So the poet tells us that this is how we can identify a Bengal tiger. It has yellow skin covered with black stripes and it's so powerful, as soon as it sees you, it will kill you. Moving ahead, in third stanza, the poet talks about leopard. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you. Whose hide? Hide means skin. With spots is peppered. So his skin is, such, it appears that somebody has peppered the skin as if it is sprinkled with pepper, right? So black pepper, it's very fine and it's dark in color. And if we sprinkle pepper on anything, so the food is covered with small black dots. So he's comparing sprinkling of pepper on anything with the dark spots on the skin of a leopard. So if the poet says, if you move ahead in the jungle and if you see a beast whose skin is covered with dark spots as if it has been sprinkled with pepper, as soon as he has leapt on you. Leapt means jumped. So this is a wrong spelling. We'll discuss about it. It is a kind of poetic device. So the right spelling is L-E-A-P-T. Leapt means to jump. So if you see a beast with whose skin is covered with small dark dots, and as soon as he sees you, he jumps on you, he attacks you and tries to kill you, then you should instantly recognize him as a leopard. It will do no good to roar with pain, he'll only lep and lep again. So the poet says that it will be useless to shriek with pain, to call for help, because if you do it, it is not going to change the leopard's mind. It will attack you. It will jump at you again and again, and finally it will kill you. In next stanza, the poet talks about bear, how one can recognize a bear. If when you're walking round your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. Now, who hugs you very, very hard? Again, in a humorous way, the poet is comparing the bears. Obviously, its hug will be very dangerous, right? So, hug is used in a humorous way. So, if you see a creature who is huge, black, and if it hugs you with so much strength that it ends up killing you, be sure that you have come across a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess, he'll give you just one more caress. Caress means a loving touch. Again, in a humorous way, the poet is calling a bear's hit, a bear's slap or a swat with a loving touch. So the poet says that if by any chance you don't die when the bear hugs you, it holds you tightly, then yes, you will certainly die if it will do it one more time. In next stanza, the poet talks about hyena and crocodile. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. So the poet is telling us the difference between a crocodile and a hyena, how we can differentiate between the two. So a novice means a beginner, right? A person who doesn't know much about animals and who goes to the jungle for the first time. So he will be confused. Nonplus means to be confused. So the poet says don't get confused while trying to identifying a crocodile and a hyena, because hyena come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. So if the animal is smiling at you, obviously it's not smiling literally, but hyena's mouth is as such that it appears that it is smiling at you. So the poet says if it appears that okay, it is giving you a pleasant smile, then it's a hyena, and if you see some fake tears, then it is crocodile. In last stanza, the poet talks about chameleon. A true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. So the poet says that a chameleon is a small creature and it looks quite like a lizard. He hasn't any ears at all. So we can't see any ears on its mouth and not a single wing. It doesn't have any ears. It doesn't have a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it is chameleon you see. So as we know, chameleon have this ability to change the color of their skin, right? If a chameleon is sitting on a tree, on the trunk of a tree, it will change its color to brown. If it's sitting on leaves, it will change its color to green. So we will not be able to see where a chameleon is sitting, and before we know it, before we can recognize or identify it, it will just kill us, right? Because its bite is very poisonous, it's very dangerous. So yeah, this is what the poem is all about. In this poem, in a humorous way, the poet has described certain distinct features of some wild animals. So we'll discuss poetic devices stanza wise. First of all, stanza 1, you can see, you can read the stanza on the right hand side of your screen. So the first device which is used is enjambment. Enjambment means absence of a punctuation mark at the end of a line. So as you can see, there is no punctuation mark after first line, after third line, right? So these are examples of punctuation, enjambment. Second literary device which is used in the same stanza is inversion. Inversion means change in the structure of a sentence. So as you can see the underlined sentence, and if there should to you advance. Now here, this is not a correct structure to use, right? It is not grammatically correct. So the poet has taken the liberty to change the structure of the sentence. This kind of this poetic device is called inversion. Next is repetition. Very simple. In second last line, as you can see, the word you has been repeated 2 times. At you as you are dying. This is called repetition. Moving on to stanza 2. First is enjambment. As you can see, there is no punctuation mark at the end of second last line. This simple rule may help you learn. So there is no punctuation mark after this. So it is enjambment. Next is alliteration. A repetition of a consonant sound in close connection is called alliteration. See the underlined words, roaming round. R sound is repeated here, which is, so this is called alliteration. Next is oxymoron. It means when 2 contradictory words are used together. A noble wild beast, right? So noble and wild, they are 2 contradictory words. If a person is, or a thing, an animal, if it's noble, it cannot be wild, it cannot be dangerous, and if it is wild, it cannot be noble. So since 2 contradictory words have been used for the same animal, they have been used together, so it is called oxymoron. Next is irony. When there is a difference between surface meaning of something that is said and the underlying meaning. So when there is a difference between the surface meaning and the actual meaning, right? It is called irony. So read this underlined sentence. A noble wild beast greets you. Here the poet says that it welcomes you, it greets you. But in reality, it doesn't greet you, right? It will only try to kill you. So the meaning is just the opposite of what is written, right? This is called irony. In third stanza, the first poetic device which we are going to discuss is poetic license. The freedom to depart from the facts of a matter or from the conventional rules of language when speaking or writing in order to create an effect. So when the poet takes an advantage, when the poet takes the liberty, not advantage, when the poet takes the liberty to change certain spellings of some words or sentence structures, it is called poetic license. So as I had told while discussing the poem, as soon as he has leapt on you. Now this is a wrong spelling of leapt. The correct spelling is L-E-A-P-T, but the poet has changed the spelling. He has used an incorrect spelling. He has taken this liberty. So this poetic device is called poetic license. So he has done it a couple of times. See, leapt, then lep. So instead of writing leapt and leapt, he has written lep and lep. See, in the second last line, twill. Twill is incorrect, right? So this is also an example of poetic license. Actually, the word is it will. But instead of writing it will, the poet has written twill. So these all are examples of poetic license. Next is alliteration, very simple. As soon as he has leapt on you, he has. Her sound is repeated, which is a consonant sound. It is called alliteration. Next is repetition, very simple. He'll only leap and leap again. The word leap is repeated 2 times. In fourth stanza, the first poetic device is enjambment. Very simple. We have discussed it in previous stanzas also. When there is an absence of punctuation mark at the end of a sentence, it is called enjambment. So as you can see, there is no punctuation mark after first line and second last line. So it is enjambment. Next poetic device that we have in this stanza is alliteration. If when you're walking, when walking, were sound is repeated here. You're walking round your yard. You are your yard. Your sound is repeated here. So this is second example of alliteration. Who hugs you very, very hard? Hugs hard. Her sound is repeated. Another example of alliteration. And then we have be sure it's a bear. Be bear. Ber sound is repeated. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 examples of alliteration in stanza 4. In fifth stanza, again the first one is enjambment. As you can see, there is no punctuation mark after first line, after third line and last line. So all these are examples of enjambment. Next is alliteration. A novice might nonplus. N sound is repeated here, which is a consonant sound, so it is alliteration. Next is repetition. In fourth and fifth line, hyena has been repeated twice, so it is repetition. In last stanza, stanza 6, first device which we have is alliteration. See the third line, he hasn't any ears at all. He hasn't. Her sound is repeated here. Next is poetic license. As I said, when the poet takes the liberty to change the spelling of a certain word and if he uses a wrong spelling. Now the question is why the poet will use the wrong spelling. So sometimes it is done to create a certain rhyming effect, right? And sometimes it is used just to make it sound humorous. So as you can see in the last line, tis the chameleon you see. So the word is it is, but instead of writing it is, the poet has just written tis. So this is called poetic license. This poem has a rhyme scheme also. Each and every paragraph has a different rhyme scheme. We'll discuss stanza 1. Chance, east, advance, beast, dine, line. Chance rhymes with advance. East rhymes with beast. Dine rhymes with line. So the rhyme scheme will be A, B, A, B, C, C. So just like this, you can easily find out the rhyme scheme of other stanzas also. You just have to see the last words of each and every line. Yeah, that's all about it. If you like the video, then please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.